Hey guys, welcome back to the wrap up, episode 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 6, 5. So we are back this week. It's gonna be a little bit of a longer but shorter episode. We've had some really great opportunities to go in depth a little bit more, which I'm hoping you guys are gonna enjoy. But we had a great new team member join us a few months ago. You've probably seen him in some of the videos. Grant's now the youngest member in our team. But you'll see in some of these videos me just going over and explaining some nuances of the films that we've been working with. The first of which is a Tesla Model 3 in Oracle's or Oracle's 970RA in a color called Papyrus. Really cool off-white color. Looks really neat, has a good gloss to it. So really great film. We enjoyed doing this one. It was another Model 3, if I recall. And as you guys have seen in a lot of our episodes, we love our Teslas. So there's another one going on right behind me in Satin Ghost Flip. You'll see that in probably 2 episodes. So back to this. So in these first clips, you're gonna see me working with Grant, just explaining proper procedure, proper technique, making sure that we set him up for all the things he will need to be successful here with us at SFG. So check those clips out. Hopefully you guys get a lot out of them. If you're enjoying this type of content, obviously, let us know. We're still trying to figure this thing out, so we would love any input you might have for us.
So, for those of you watching, the knifeless kind of follows this line. When Grant pulled the knifeless line, it veered this way, and so it is a little short. So the reason we do these pieces and we test and everything else is because we're trying to teach Grant the right way to do the inlays, double check our inlays before we go live with a large piece. We do it this way because it would really suck to get this far and then find out you ruined the whole bumper and you have to start all over. So you get a lot of little scrap from the wheel wells and every little place. So we take the time to kind of run these tests to make sure that we have coverage. I've done these Teslas hundreds of times. I don't really need to do this, but I'm trying to teach Grant the right way to do it. So that way in the future, if he does a bumper he does not understand, he knows how to practice it and then go live with a big piece and have proper procedure and technique. So that way we don't waste a lot of film. On a Tesla, not really so crazy, but on some cars, we're very, very close to a full roll of film. Or if we're with a Nosatec, or Tech Wrap, or Fresh Film, any of those brands have 60 to 65 foot rolls. Instead of like 3M, Avery, Orful, those are all 75 foot rolls. So sometimes that 10 feet gives you no room for error. So this is how we kind of make sure we don't screw up a big piece. Okay, so point here, your knife goes this way. Now, notice how your hand moves a little bit and you get a little closer in here, right?
Yeah.
So what we need to do is when you make the cut, start out here really, really slow. Because you want as much material for here and for here as possible. And then you do the same thing for here. Once you make this cut and this cut, this material is gonna lay down and then you're gonna be able to make a cut right here.
Okay.
Okay? So, go ahead and grab your knife. Probably use 2 hands. Whenever I'm making a cut, I try to always steady one hand with the other, because like one hand, if you accidentally slip, you're done. Yeah. And we're starting this whole bonanza all over again. Exactly like that. Down. Good. You're gonna want to work up towards that corner, up towards where your hand is, and you probably want to stop about there. Okay. So for the next part, we're gonna pull all the way back, and you're gonna heat it. And when you rotate, you're gonna want your thumbs to stay, like, you know when I showed you how to pull a bumper, you're pulling tight, right?
Pull it kind of out and then just back and then let the work mature to the rest of the work.
Exactly. So, but you want your fingers here to keep this nice even tension, but you're also pulling out at the same time. So go ahead and heat it. You want me to show you once and then switch? Okay. So all my stretch is coming from back there, and then I'm rotating my fingers behind, and then I'm rolling. And hopefully, if I did my job right, I'm back there, right? So once you have your corners set, then you can do a couple things. If it's 3M, you could probably get away with just doing one of these, and it would probably all just relax. Orful doesn't quite adjust itself the same way, so what you'll probably do is on this one.
Pull it down.
Exactly. You'll pull the top and then or pull the bottom and then you'll pull the top. So you'll just pull it tight, set that, and actually that looks like enough, so that way you can probably squeegee, right?
After that, we have a beautiful KTM Super Duke. This vehicle was done in Tech Wrap Amolite Gem. That's a mouthful. It's one of their cool neochrome films with some oranges and greens and yellows in it. Pretty complex bike, as you'll see from some of these clips. Once again, we went pretty in depth on these ones, explaining the process with this bike. It was all plastic, so you'll hear some good information on why we used Adhesive Promoter and other things and techniques to make this work. I am super proud of how this bike turned out. The customer is head over heels. It's been now about a week and a half since we finished it. And yeah, he's getting some really good responses. We're gonna be doing some other cool custom touches for him in the coming weeks.
Okay, so there's one thing you will rarely ever see us using, and that is this Adhesive Promoter. I'm not a big fan of it. I think you've maybe seen us use it one other time in a video, and that was because we could not get something to stick to an edge with the nose attack. So this is plastic. Plastic by rule does not stick to film. Well, one of our great clients had a really bad inclination that he wanted to wrap his KTM Super Duke in Tech Wrap's, one of their neochromes. I can't recall the name of it, but I'm sure I'll talk about it in our wrap up. So things don't like to stick to plastic inherently. The only way that we've been successful in getting so many of these parts wrapped is by using creative seaming as well as Adhesive Promoter, because it's the only way to make this stuff stick. So I've got myself and Grant here, one of our trainees, kind of going through here, and we're making templates of each of these complex shapes. This film does not stretch. It's like wrapping with tin foil. Really cool, beautiful color. Super challenging. Has had me pulling out my hair for the last few weeks. I kind of let the customer know when he dropped it off that it's going to take what it takes to get it done, and this is not something you can work on for 8 or 10 hours a day and just knock it out. A lot of things we can kind of just push through, and we've done them enough where we can just get it finished quickly. This is not one of those times. So it's basically like, as we're working on other things, spend a couple hours here and there. Otherwise you want to throw these parts across the room. For those of you watching, if you come here having a similar request, just expect that it's going to cost you way more than you think. This customer kind of gave us an open budget because he just really wanted it done, which is the reason we're doing it, because it's hard to account for this much time on one singular thing, and just be patient. So what we're doing is we're just making tape templates to give us a general shape so when we go back, we can just lay the piece on like a puzzle piece. So thanks to my buddy Kevin Kemp over at PG NOLA for sharing all of his wisdom and his ideas with this stuff, because there's just some things you can't do anything with but make templates. It's one of the things that the best guys in the world do, Exotic Graphics, PG NOLA, all this stuff. So we're trying to pick this skill up. It's pretty difficult. Takes a ton of patience, but it's the only way to do certain things. So. Everybody runs away from these films because they're difficult, but if you want to ever be like one of the best, you have to kind of know what to work with in any situation. You know, these guys are made to work with every manufacturer and put in these like weird situations with the wrong product to learn to like showcase their problem solving. I mean, that's number one with anybody who wraps is, you know, as an installer, we're basically told to make things work sometimes when they're not supposed to. And so we just kind of do our thing and do the best we can and get it done. So the best installers do that, you know. Everybody who just works with just Avery or 3M or just this or just that, yeah, I mean, for the bulk of your work. But I like to challenge. I like to challenge you guys. I think it's going to make us better in the long term.
So we're just buttoning this one up finally. It's been here for probably about 3 weeks, maybe a little longer. Yuri, the owner, is just putting back together the bike. Super difficult to work with, probably the hardest film I've ever worked with. And you know, if you see this bike in person, it's what I would consider far from perfect. It's we tried very hard to make it as perfect as we could, but the contours of a motorcycle are not very conducive of a wrap like this. On Tech Wrap's website, it says this is meant for accents. It's not even intended to be a full wrap color, but we wanted to kind of see what it was, and Yuri was patient enough with us to you know, let us take our time with it and kind of work on it kind of in between, because this film is maddening. You work on something for like an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and then finally you just kind of have to walk away and come back the next day. So there's a lot of seams and a lot of edges just because the film will not stretch and pool like a traditional film will. And so, you know, when you see these pieces, these are actually 1 piece, 2 piece, 3 piece. These are all individual panels, and then we've overlapped them and hidden the seams as best we can on the edges. From where you guys are probably seeing it, it probably looks amazing. Up close, I'd probably rated it like a 7 in some areas. In other areas, closer to like a 9, just because the seams are pretty clean. But once again, the film is like aluminum foil. It will not shrink around a corner or an edge like a traditional film will. So I want to make sure we took the time to explain to you guys, because I'm sure you're going to see this bike all over Instagram here in the coming weeks. But you know, it's a super challenging film to work with. So with that, with this type of a film, come with a big budget, come with a lot of patience and time, because we're going to take the time that we need to make sure that it's as good as we can get it. And even then, it's still not as perfect as I would like, but we kind of have to figure out a happy medium. Customer seems to be super happy with it, so you guys will see some finished photos and some video of it here in a second, and hope you love it. So thanks. Hope you guys love this one. We're really enjoying putting this content out, and if you guys are enjoying it too, please like, subscribe, comment, tell us what you want to see. We want to give it to you, and just keep showing you some different things. We also have some really cool custom design wraps coming in the coming weeks, so subscribing will definitely let you see those things, and we're going to keep showcasing the great things we do here. So can't wait to see you on the next wrap up, and enjoy.